Recording in progress. Welcome to Conversations with Calvin, We the Species. This is actually my third interview of the day. I'm being honest. I changed sweaters, but it's my third interview of the day. And this is part of my commitment and my love of the Garden State Film Festival to be involved and to interview filmmakers and actors and actresses and production people and music people, directors. Why? Because I love the institution of indie filmmaking. Why? Because I love it, and also because I'm an indie author, and I don't mind always promoting myself, holding up my Kirkus Star novel. There's a tortoise in my hair, a journey to spirit. Got a Kirkus Star. They compared me to John Irving and Philip Roth, but most importantly, this time is now going to be spent with Vienna Skinnell. And actually, my first Gen Z interview. Um, that's right. You are Gen Z, right smack in the middle of that. And I was really excited about that because, you interview older filmmakers, younger filmmakers, different perspectives. And, you have a shortened journey, but the journey is wide open. And actually, it's really thrilling, Vienna, because you're at the precipice of so many things. And you're at NYU. You can talk about that, the great film school. So I'm thrilled to meet you. We had a chance to chat a little bit beforehand. And again, I'm so intrigued and impressed. For your 18 years of age, you've got a film now that's showing at the Garden State Film Festival, which is a great, wonderful, amazing film festival. It's getting bigger and better and so forth and so on. So that's the essence of my monologue. Why don't you take a minute or two just to kind of do a little background, and then we're going to talk about this because that's why we're here, Killer Love. And we're going to
Yeah,
talk all about that. So take it away, Vienna. A little back.
yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here. Um, I'm Vienna Skinnell. I am 18 years old. I'm from the Bay Area, Marin County specifically, and I'm a writer and director of film. As you mentioned, I'm currently studying film production at NYU, which is incredible. And I'm so happy to be able to share my passion for movie making with the world.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. So, first question, the burning first question. Um, I love the tagline, Killer Love, men are just dying to date her. So that in and of itself is rather um, provocative and kind of draws you in. So, what was the inspiration behind this?
Yeah, Killer Love, I think for me is a lot inspired by my love for horror movies. I a year ago found that I am really drawn to like the classic horror movies, Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream, all of the big classics, and I kind of wanted to make something that was like that, but had a little twist of being from the perspective of a killer and also a female killer, which I think is unusual for a lot of those movies. I think it's generally a male dominated area and
Yeah,
genre.
that's right. That's exactly right. It's interesting. You rattle off a couple of movies that have influenced you, in the horror genre. And of course, this now you take a yellow highlighter out that you highlight your notes with. The yellow highlighter is, if somebody would ask me, my inspirations, I would go back to um, the 1930s, Frankenstein. So we're
Mhm.
of different age, but we're bridging that. Frankenstein, Dracula, that kind of stuff. And by the way, as a kid, that stuff influenced me. So, and I'm talking about now 50s, as a kid growing up in the 50s, Dracula influenced me so much as a kid. And this is probably this is just coming to me as I'm talking to you, that it was so impactful in my life and it was so real for me, and the filmmaking so powerful for me that it drew me in. That as a kid, maybe 11 years old, having watched Dracula, my parents would go out and then I'd babysit for my two little sisters. I'm 11, 12 years old. And I'm watching Dracula and I'm so petrified from what I'm watching
Mhm.
that I go into my mother's spice rack. True story. And I pull out garlic because garlic and vampires don't go together. And I took the garlic powder and I opened up the windows and I sprinkled the garlic powder on all the windowsills to keep the vampires out of the house. But that's the power of a film for a
Yeah.
young, impressionable mind of 11 or 12 years old. It's a great story. I haven't told this story in a million years. Anyway, what do you want people to take away when they watch Killer Love?
For me, Killer Love is really about the female experience. And I kind of wanted to highlight that and how it's about how women shouldn't feel this pressure to change for someone else. And I think that
Heavy.
how I combined it with, yeah, the comedy and horror aspect, I think makes it a little bit lighter and a little
Okay.
less heavy and societally
Okay.
um, charged. And
Okay.
so I thought it was a fun way to kind of combine all of those things.
So you've and again, I haven't so this is a feature film, right? Is this a short
No, this is a short
a
film.
short film?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
about 8 minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay. But it's an interesting dichotomy, comedy and horror.
Hmm.
And actually, one of my favorite, I guess, I don't know if you ever saw Fright Night.
I haven't, no.
Well, there's it's a full-length feature film. By the way, it's a pretty scary movie. It's called Fright Night, and my son and I, my son is my pal, and we watch Fright Night a ton of times. But it's comedy, but it's heavy-duty horror. Yet there's comedic elements to it. So and that's what you've done here, and I find that fascinating. Um, so you're 18. So when did you start
Yeah.
making films? I know Spielberg did when he was even younger.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I was quite that young, but I kind of got into film in my freshman year of high school because I took a film class and I was immediately just drawn to it. But I've always kind of had this love of telling stories. And I wasn't really sure where that was going to lead me, but I took this one film class in high school and fell in love and didn't stop making movies since.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Um, I just found this out. I guess I didn't read deep enough, but I know you were from the West Coast. I just assumed you were in school out there, but lo and behold, you told me before we went on air you're at NYU. Why did you choose to go from the West Coast to come to New York to go to school?
Yeah, I thought that I was going to end up in Los Angeles because, as a young filmmaker, you're told that's where it all happens. That's where you get your connections. But I applied to as many film programs as I could, and NYU is the one that really, really called to me because I think it's a lot about the art of filmmaking and less about the um, the money behind it or, the more the less artful making of the film itself.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so you have a long, wonderful, uh, promising career. I mean, my goodness, the things, and we'll talk about. Uh, I'm going to ask you an off-topic question at the end of this about indie filmmaking in the new world that we're entering, and it's a great world for you. Um, but what are your from this 18-year-old vantage point? What are your aspirations as a filmmaker? What do you want to accomplish?
Yeah. I think that for me, it's really about impact. I think film should not be about, these huge blockbusters that we see all the time, where they're being made just to get the views or just to bring in a big box office revenue. And so I really just want to be making films that are having an emotional effect on people. And that's why I find, the Oscar nominations so inspiring. Sean Baker,
Yeah.
all of these amazing directors who are making art that's actually changing lives. I think that's amazing.
I'm so gratified that you brought that up because that was one of my favorite. We're going to talk about that right now. Um, so again, I'm an indie author. and I have this great affinity for you guys as indie filmmakers, anybody in the indie business. I also was a music journalist here in New Jersey, and I gravitated to indie music. And for a year and a half, I co-hosted an indie music radio show for a couple hours every Sunday night. So everything about me is indie. Um, uh, so you're right, and this just blew me away when I watch Academy Awards. Sean Baker, Jersey boy, by the way, people know that he's from Jersey. But anyway, he gets the best director, best film, and best actress. California girl, Mikey Madison. But what blew me away? It's an indie film.
Mhm.
An indie film with, relatively speaking, and you mentioned, $100 million, blockbuster thing. That's not important. But what's important is they had a $6 million budget and they won everything. So this, to me, for you and
Mhm.
your world of indies, is a brave new world that's coming.
Yeah.
The brave new world is it's story, story, story. And it don't
Yeah.
make a difference if it's 200 million or 6 million or even a million. So
Yeah.
you should be really excited about that, Vienna, as this whole new world is opening up. And you said it, and I'm so glad you said it because that's very profound that you said that you recognized what can be accomplished with story, 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 and it's not
Mhm.
money, it's about the story and the message that you're telling. And then I got to put I have to put, you talked about LA and of course Hollywood and all that, but I've got based on my observations watching, and I didn't watch it yet, but the Academy Awards, but Anora, New Jersey, which is right across the river from you, is well on its way to becoming a significant Hollywood of the East.
Yeah.
Because as we speak, Netflix is signed on to build a $900 million studio about 15 miles away from me. And then somebody else is going to put another $900 million into South Jersey for another monster studio. And uh, Lots of people come from Jersey, including Sean Baker. Steven Spielberg will be here next week shooting the film. So maybe Hollywood is Hollywood, of course, but New Jersey, I got to plug New Jersey is becoming a viable thing. But anyway, you said that was just a great observation for a young person to have said that, and I'm impressed. Are you working on anything now currently?
I am. Yeah. I'm actually in pre-production for my debut feature film that I'm going to be shooting this summer.
Cool.
Yeah. It's called The Social Distance. It's a sci-fi coming of age film, and I'm super excited to be writing, directing, producing. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but
No
it's
kidding.
been fun.
That's great. Social distance. Well, you got to come back and talk about that.
I would love to. Yeah.
Yep. So you're a young filmmaker, and with that, I'm sure, I don't know, but I'm sure that carries a lot of baggage.
Mhm.
Meaning, you have above and beyond the normal challenges as a filmmaker because you're young. Have you experienced that?
I have. I definitely have. Yeah. Even being an indie filmmaker and having these huge breakthroughs with Sean Baker and indie filmmaking, it's still such a challenge just because of the lack of a budget, the lack of any kind of um, industry grade equipment or anything like that. So you really have to make do with what you have. And as much as you try, there's always going to be things that get in the way. And it's so hard to get the support that you need as a young filmmaker and an indie filmmaker both together.
Okay. And then you got to add one other thing to that, gender.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
female. Another little challenge to climb, correct?
absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of um, ideology in the industry that I haven't necessarily directly experienced so far, but I know is a really big challenge with having people trust women to take charge and to direct films. And so it's also so inspiring that, Greta Gerwig is
Yeah,
becoming this big name,
correct.
but that's still just one person, you know. We still have a long way to
Long
go.
way to go. Correct. But you're right in the middle of it. And you're
Yeah.
right in the middle of it, and you're starting out young and experience. I'm in all these writers groups I interact with a bunch of writers because I'm a writer, and experience, persistence. These are the things. So you've got those ingredients, and you're getting that experience, and it's great. It just adds to your resume because one day you wake up. I did a little writing here and there in college. I did a little writing. One day you wake up and you find out you're a writer, but it's experience. So you're really
Completely.
on the right um, track. Where can people like uh, find stuff about you and find out about your
Yeah.
projects? Uh,
My Instagram page, Vienna
Okay.
Skinnell.
Hmm.
And then I also have one for this movie over the summer. It's called The Social Distance, the movie. You can
Okay.
find that on Instagram. And I have two indie production companies that I am a part of, a co-founder of. One is Femme Fatale Production Co. and one is Film First Productions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like those names, Femme Fatale. So this is, man, it's great stuff. I mean, it really is. And it's funny, I'm sitting here listening to you, and if I closed my eyes and I hadn't met you and I closed my eyes, I think I'm talking to somebody 30, 35 years old. So I'm paying you a compliment.
Thank you.
Well, I'm paying you a compliment because you're grounded and you've got such a handle on things, and I always find that amazing. That's why I love and I gravitate in so much of my interviews to finding Gen Zs because there's a relatability there. Um, I like this question, completely off topic, and you don't necessarily have to ask it, but I borrowed it from one of my favorite journalists. So be it. It's only a question, but here goes. Again, you don't have to answer, but excluding family or friends, somebody living or dead you'd like to spend a day with.
Ooh, that's an excellent question.
It is.
It's a hard one too.
I know it is. And if there's a few, there's no rules here. There's a few, you can answer a few.
Yeah. I've kind of always said Eliza Hamilton. I was a big Hamilton fan, like the
Okay.
musical. Um, yeah, I really like the power that she had in history and just powerful women in general are so cool.
Great answer. Great. That's a great answer. You already alluded to the fact you love horror movies, but in general, what are some of your favorite movies? As an
Yeah,
equal
I would say Scream is definitely up there.
Scream.
So funny. And then I really love Joss Whedon's work. He's, I know, questionable director himself, but his work really inspires me. So, Dr. Horrible's sing-along vlog, I'll always
Okay.
recommend, and anything by David Lynch.
Okay. He just passed.
Yeah, he did,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yep. Um, I because of my age, I'm stuck with my age. I can't do anything about my age, but I am a hopeless film romantic. I mean, I'm sure in your film studies at NYU, you dabbled, uh, in some of the movie classics, Orson Welles and
Mhm.
maybe Casablanca and some of the other. I'm consistently stuck in old movies. Um, I watched this thing the other night for maybe the 80th time because it was such a great depiction of 1936. And I watch all the time Penny Marshall's movie, baseball movie. Uh, oh shoot, I'm forgetting the name. But it also depicts 1943 during the Second World War. A League of Their Own. Just
Mhm.
marvelous kind of stuff. So you do it sometimes. Do watch. I'm asking you. Some old.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I love the classics. One of my favorite movies, I would say, is Singing in the Rain. Love that.
Funny you said that. No, it's so funny you said that because this morning when I was interviewing, that was my first movie I saw. My parents took me to see that when I was 6 or 7 years old.
No way.
That was my first movie as a kid. I think it came out in 1951 or 52. So I was 6, 7 years old, Singing in the Rain. Funny you said that.
It's
Wow.
incredible.
Yeah, yep. Truly classic. And
Oh yeah.
that scene when he's dancing and it's raining and the umbrella and it just marvelous filmmaking.
It's
So,
amazing.
we already discussed, independent filmmaking, which you think is so important, and it's going to open up a million doors. So, we did good here, and I'm officially inviting you. You can come back in any shape, way, form. You want to
Much.
introduce, yep, you want to introduce social distance down the road. Hey, I sit here 12 hours a day. It's my pleasure. We're friends. And we could do panels. I've done a million panels with Rutgers students because I'm a Rutgers guy. We do panels. We do a lot of climate. So anyway, I'm just saying, Vienna, I'm here. And it was absolutely great meeting you. Please do come
You
back.
as
I
well.
wish you all kinds of good things with Killer Love in the Garden State Film Festival on March 27th through the 30th. So come back.
Thank you so much. It was such an honor to be here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't leave. I'm just going to stop